funeral is about to begin, sir.
I think we just picked up Dracula. It's got a death curse!
Are they slow-moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Never Not Horror. I am Steve Clark.
And I am Rich Hansel.
And we are back from summer vacation with deep dive movie review number 31. And in the spirit of beach vacations, we're keeping it on point, theme-wise, I guess you would say. So, Rich, what are we getting into today?
We're going to deep dive 1978 Piranha.
So, yeah, this was... If you tuned into the last episode when Rich announced this pick, this is another movie I had never seen before. So I believe this is 3 in a row movies that I watched for the very first time that we did a deep dive movie review of. So certainly aware of it, and I had seen the recent Piranha 3D. Well, in the 2000s, recent anyway. But so yeah. So, if you are new to the show, we do our deep dive movie reviews in 4 sections. We will open up with our history with the movie. Then we will get into some fun fact, behind the scenes, cast and crew. I said that out of order, but that kind of stuff. And then at that point, we will get into a full plot walkthrough with spoilers. So, if you have not seen the movie, you're going to want to take a time out and go watch it if you don't want it spoiled. Then come on back and ride through it with us. And then at the end, we will give our official Never Not Horror Howls rating and review. So, Rich, your pick. What is your history with Piranha?
I saw Piranha when I was very, very young. I can't say exactly when, but I do know I was really young. Neighborhood kids, we all watched it at my house. My house was kind of the hangout spot when we was kids. It was very... interesting, it made one of those deals, when you're a kid and you think that certain things are going to be hazards as you get older.
Right. Quicksand.
Yeah, quicksand, cannibals, yeah.
Piranha.
Yeah, so it was one of those things like, Russian invasions and things like that, but obviously, it's not that big of a deal.
Turns out I have not run into any piranha.
Yeah, and I do know people that have pet piranha. So
yeah, I've heard of that before.
So it's not nearly as bad as we thought it was going to be. Unfortunately, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was a great time to be alive back then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was obviously one that was. I didn't see it in '78 for sure. It was probably more in the '80s, early '80s, but. Yeah, that's about my history with it.
Yep. All right. So, yeah, like I said, first time watch for me, definitely aware of it. I had seen Piranha 3D from the 2000s. Just recently, in the last year, I probably watched that. And I thought that was a really fun movie. I had a hell of a time with that one. I think this movie has a reputation of being a Jaws ripoff.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that as we go. I don't think that's necessarily fair, but we'll talk about it when we get into it. But it was one of those movies that, like Jaws, and I've said on this show before that I don't necessarily think Jaws is a horror movie.
You're right.
So Piranha, being in the similar vein of cinema, didn't really jump out to me. So it wasn't something I sought out. But now that I've watched it, I have opinions about it. So we'll get into that. It is not just another one, third time in a row. I'd never seen it before, so no history. I did not know that there was until I finished watching it last night, and then I watched it on Amazon Prime, and when it ended, it was like next up, like they just default you something.
Right.
I did not realize that there was a remake in '95 of Piranha.
Yeah.
So I've never seen that one either. But I'd be curious now, having seen the original and having seen Piranha 3D, what Piranha 95 is like.
Right.
So
yeah.
But yeah, that's it for me. I mean, it's another one like Sleepaway Camp. Sleepaway Camp is a better comparison than the Funhouse because even though I'd never seen either, I was much more aware of Sleepaway Camp than I was the Funhouse.
Yeah.
So falls more in that vein. It's absolutely a movie I knew about. I just had not seen it. So, all right. Well, on that note, let's get into some fun fact stuff and talk about behind the scenes stuff a little bit. So here we go.
It's time for a history lesson.
Take us there, Rich. What we got?
All right. Piranha is directed by Joe Dante, who did Howling and The Gremlins. Yeah, a lot of great movies from Joe Dante. The Burbs, one of my favorite Joe Dante
I love
movies.
that movie. Have we talked about that?
I think we've touched on it.
Okay, yeah. One of my all-time favorite comedies.
Yeah, it
The
is
Burbs.
mine too.
Yeah.
That cast was amazing.
Yeah,
it was great.
So good. Yeah.
Produced by Roger Corman.
Mm-hmm.
And special effects. There was a kind of special effects by committee. You had a guy named Phil Tippett design the fish for the movie. Chris Wallace and Robert Short, they designed the kind of the human limbs when the piranha needed to chew on something. And Rob Bottin did help a little bit on this.
Yep.
And it does star Bradford Dillman as Paul Grogan, and I don't know him from anything.
Me neither.
Anything.
I did some homework on this, and nothing. I didn't see anything in his IMDb that rang any bells for me at all. So I have no comment on Bradford Dillman.
So he's kind of our co-main, and then we have Heather Menzies as Maggie McCown. Kevin McCarthy is
he was the guy that I knew in the movie.
Yep, mine too.
Right.
As Dr. Robert Hoke. Keenan Wynn is a guy named Jack, and of course you have to have Dick Miller if it's a Joe Dante movie.
Who is he in this movie?
He is the guy that's putting on the party.
The knockoff part.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yep, I got you.
That's Dick Miller.
Yep. Kevin McCarthy from the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers in the 50s. Whatever the last movie that we did a movie or something that he came up in, and I talked about how he's in UHF, the Weird Al Yankovic movie, and I'll forever associate him with that. And then Heather Menzies, she was in The Sound of Music. There's another one, and I'll have to pull it up here, but one of the girls that's like a counselor at the camp is very famous from The Young and the Restless.
Oh, really?
The soap opera.
The blonde or the
blonde
brunette?
one?
Okay.
Yeah, Melody Scott Thomas or something like that is her name. But my mom watched all the CBS soap operas, so like in the summertime I'd get caught up because you just couldn't avoid it, and she was like the face of that show.
Oh, wow.
And then I didn't recognize her in this, but then I saw in the credits on IMDb that's who that was. I said it backwards. Melody Thomas Scott. All right, so some fun fact stuff. I got a couple things, and you can toss out. If you have so you did mention Rob Bottin.
Mm-hmm.
I read that Rick Baker was originally tapped to do this, but I guess he couldn't for whatever reason, and he recommended who at the time was only 17 years old, Rob Bottin.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he did.
I feel like there's been crossover between Rick Baker and Rob Bottin in other movies we've talked about.
And Rob Bottin did the effect for The Howling.
Yes, right.
Joe Dante hired him for that.
So The Howling was 1981, right? So that was 3 years after Piranha.
Yep.
Right.
So he was still young.
Yeah, even then. I think I read that when this movie actually came out, he was 19. But
yeah.
So we got that. I mentioned earlier that there's some perception that this movie is a Jaws ripoff.
Yep.
To the extent that Universal was suing the company for blatantly ripping off the movie. But I read in the notes that Steven Spielberg saw the movie and enjoyed it so much that he asked Universal to drop the lawsuit.
I saw the same thing.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. They had Jaws 2 was coming out that same year.
Okay. Because Jaws was 76?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Jaws 2 was 78.
Okay, so yeah, same time.
Yeah.
I will play my hand a little bit here and say I feel like this movie is very different than Jaws.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm skipping way ahead, but other than the one part that is obviously a not I mean, I don't even know if you can call that an homage. That is a ripoff of, but it's such a small part of this movie that I feel like it's not fair to say that.
Yeah.
I feel like this stands on its own as it's a different thing.
I do too.
And the only other thing that I had in my notes here was, so Heather Menzies plays the female lead. What's her name?
That is Maggie McCown.
Okay. So she has a very brief nude scene in this movie where you just see her boobs for just a flash. But I read in the notes here that she was not comfortable doing that just because she was worried her husband wouldn't be comfortable with it. But this was despite the fact that she had already posed nude in Playboy prior to this.
Wow. Huh.
But she didn't want to do it for the movie, so it's interesting just the movie of how, or the production of how this works. So that is a body double because you don't see her face when she flashes, basically. But the body double was a waitress at the Holiday Inn where the production crew was staying, and they had found this girl and asked her if she wanted to do it, and she agreed. So that is not really Heather Menzies' boobs in that flash scene, but
I know the guy that she flashed, the military personnel. Yeah. I don't have his name wrote down, but that is the guy that wrote the screenplay for Piranha.
Oh, okay. All right.
Kind of a stand-in deal.
Yeah. He didn't. I don't even know if he spoke. I don't think. I think his role was to be a stone-faced guard or something. Yeah. So yeah. You got any other fun facts notes here?
Yeah, I have a few. There is a scene in here where we got some stop motion stuff.
Yes.
And a guy named John Davison, he designed that, and he was paying homage to Ray Harryhausen, who did Clash of the Titans and David and the Argonauts, I think it was called.
Yep.
But so he was a big fan of that, and he was in production of this. So I want to do this stop motion stuff. When we get to it, it don't really make much sense.
No, it does not.
But there was plans to have that thing grow and be at the very end of the movie a giant fish, like mutant fish thing.
All right.
Luckily, they cut it out.
Yes, I think that's for the best.
Yeah, that's all I've got. I had the thing about the Universal suing.
Yeah, yep. Another, I don't have that written down, but I read one of the effects, when there were scenes of the piranha swarming, they were basically just puppets on they were fish on a stick, pretty much. Yeah. And then people were just swinging the sticks around this is an audio podcast, so you can't see me doing it, but just wiggling the sticks around and making them thrash like that. So it does look fine though. Yeah. I mean, it's underwater. It's 78. Underwater photography is not crystal clear, and it's not in clear water anyway. So it looks completely fine. What do you have on budget?
Budget was $600,000. Kind of small budget.
That's very small. Yeah. Anything under $1 million anything of any scope is pretty wild to me. And I know the inflation would bump that well into the millions now in today's money, but still that's pretty good. All right.
Now, a box office, this is another one. I've had some
getting some mixed
answers here. And I mean, they're way off. So one of them is 2.9 million on the box office, and the other is 16 million.
Okay.
I mean, that's huge. 2.9 or 16 million.
That's a pretty good jump.
Yeah, and I didn't look around real good on it, but a little bit I did, and I couldn't find anything of why there's such a disparaging number between the two.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, one could be overseas.
That would be the only thing I could think of.
But
okay. So I mean, it made money at least.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Okay. Rotten Tomatoes on Piranha. Not bad. It's got a 72% tomato meter critic score and a 53% popcorn meter fan score. So not bad.
No,
We've had much worse. So all right. Well, this is going to be your warning then. If you have not seen Piranha and you do not want it to be spoiled, you're going to want to take a time out and go watch it. I watched it on Prime. It's on there for free.
Yeah.
It's on Tubi. It's on a lot of things I saw.
There was 2 versions. Did you see the director's cut and the standard? It doesn't say director's cut. It just has a different title. I watched them both, but my plot walkthrough is just the standard.
I'm not sure which one I watched.
The one was 2 hours and one was an hour and a half.
Oh, I watched the hour and a half one.
Yeah.
That's the standard one?
Yep.
Okay.
That's my plot walkthrough.
Okay.
But
at the end, tell me what the other half an hour is.
I want to. Yeah.
I would be curious. Yeah, I definitely, because I watched it late last night, and I always look at how long a movie is because gotta sleep, you know.
Right.
Right. Didn't know if I was gonna have to finish it today or what. So,
yeah.
So yeah, it's on Prime, Tubi, and a few other places that I saw. So not a hard movie to get. So go watch it if you haven't seen it, and come back and we will walk you through.
Last chance to turn back. Don't say we didn't warn ya.
All right, Rich, it's your pick, so it's your walkthrough. Let's get into it.
All right, our film opens with a look at a military test sign. It says no trespassing, complete with barbed wire. And then we see a couple backpacking. They come to this military test site facility. Of course, you got to break into them until no trespassing. So they go under the fence, and they come to a big, large pool. And they decide to go for a swim, and fortunately are killed by something in the water. After they die, we see a light come on in one of the outbuildings, and a door opens, and a man comes out, and we cut scene with our title, Piranha.
Yep.
And then we run through our opening credits. So now we see a 1978 video game, Jaws.
Very nice nod to...
being played by a lady at an airport. And this is one of our main characters. This is Maggie, who is being put on an airplane to investigate missing persons, which would be our backpackers from the very beginning.
Yep.
The next scene, we're introduced to Paul Grogan, who is being delivered a bunch of bottles of alcohol by his neighbor. Through dialogue, we find out that they live in the middle of nowhere, almost kind of off-grid, and you kind of learn that Paul's a little bit of an alcoholic and recluse and likes to be by himself.
Yeah, he gets a variety pack delivered to him. He gets, if I recall correctly, he gets some scotch, some gin. Was it gin?
Yep.
Some bourbon, and then the dude's holding out on a little bit. He's like, "What else?" And he's like, "Tequila."
Yeah, that was fun. That was pretty funny. So now we see Maggie. She's there. She's knocking on Paul's door just like that.
Yeah, she rents when she's leaving the airport. Her boss that's sending her sets her up with a Jeep when she gets there, and we see her tearing ass through the mountain on the Jeep.
Right. So
then she's just there.
Yeah, she arrives at Paul's house. Kind of just walks in. She does knock, but then she just barges in on him. Yeah. He's kind of surprised, like, who the hell is this? And she tells him that she's looking for the 2 teens that went missing who were supposed to be backpacking in this vicinity. So Paul explains to Maggie that there's an old Army test site that's closed down not far from his cabin.
So, real quick here, I don't know if I missed something in dialogue here or if they just glaze over it. Like, was she looking for him specifically, or did she just happen to find him?
It does not say.
Okay. Because they just pick up and they're together the rest of the movie doing stuff. Yep. And it felt like maybe he was like a mountain guy. There was something I was missing, I felt like.
Yeah, I did too.
But if they do, they just don't say it. So.
Yeah, they didn't say if she just went around knocking on doors and eventually came to him or anything.
Yeah.
It just, there she is,
Right.
and here we go.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm thinking too hard.
So Maggie, she ends up telling Paul that she wants him to take her to the military test site.
Yep.
And we get some fun back and forth between them two. They do have a little bit of good humor back and forth between the two.
Good chemistry.
Yeah. So they take off and they reach the test site, and Maggie breaks the lock to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
she beats the piss out of a padlock till it snaps.
Yeah, our second trespassers.
Right.
So Maggie finds a necklace that may belong to one of the teens near a pool, has some initials that match the missing people, and Maggie wants to drain the pool to see if the missing teens' bodies are in the bottom of the pool. Maybe they drowned or something like that. So Paul and Maggie, they enter a building and find what looks like a laboratory. Maggie finds a cup of coffee that's still hot. Leads you to believe
somebody's here.
Somebody is here, which we do know because we saw the man walk out after the teens drowned or went missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see jars of fish specimens, and this is just, we get this little creature walking amongst the jars, kind of avoiding them.
It's like a little lizard thing.
Yeah.
Like a little tiny dinosaur or something.
Yeah. And it's just, it seems like it's something that's going to be throughout the story, it's going to be a main thing.
Yeah, and it's not.
It's not at all.
Spoilers: that thing never comes back after this scene.
Yeah, this scene you see it 3 or 4 times in a matter of a minute.
Yeah, and we're getting into things, but like it doesn't look. It's like I don't know if claymation is the term for it, but it doesn't look the same as the effects of the Piranha later.
No, it doesn't make no sense.
It's glaringly different from everything else in the movie, and it's just really strange that it's there. I get the point that I think they were trying to establish that this is a experimental research thing, and they're making weird shit, and that's one of the weird things they made. But,
they could have just left with the jars because that was fine, and then that fish, that kind of eel-looking thing that was in the tank. I mean, all that was cool,
right? But that little dude walking around clearly imposed over the film just did not work at all.
And it was that guy that was he wanted to pay tribute to Ray Harryhausen for, must have been probably his hero, and he said, I'm going to put this in there. It
reminded me of, I cannot remember the title of it. Maybe you'll know it. There was a movie I watched a bunch of times when I was a little kid. It was a dinosaur movie where these people were like cavemen and the men and women, they were in this prehistoric world with dinosaurs.
Yeah, what was that
And the
called?
Dinosaurs were all claymation looking, and it reminded me of that art style.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I wanted to say The Land Before Time, but that's the cartoon.
Yeah. Was it something about the fire or something?
I don't remember.
Where they find fire or something?
I don't think that's it, but similar vein. But yeah. Anyway, this lizard looks weird. Like, it's just really out of place, a little jarring.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you can forget it after this because it's not in the movie anymore.
Right. So now Maggie, she finds the missing teens' backpacks, and now she knows that they were indeed at the facility, and she sees a lever to drain the pool.
Right there on the wall, clearly labeled.
Perfect. So she flips the switch, and a man runs out, and to stop her, he's yelling, no, 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 and this is Kevin McCarthy, or the actor Kevin McCarthy, and there's a struggle, and Paul ends up knocking him out cold. Down he goes.
Yep.
So now back out by the pool, Paul explains that the facility used to be an old fish hatchery, and that the pool probably drained into the river, and they find some bones at the bottom of the pool, and all of a sudden they hear their Jeep start, and it takes off. They hear it leaving the scene, so they know that guy woke up, and he's commandeered their Jeep, and he's leaving the scene. So they run out and watch Kevin McCarthy speeding away. So he ends up, he's panicked and he's frustrated, and he crashes the Jeep.
Yep.
And it allows Paul and Maggie to catch up to the man, and when they get there, we go cutscene. So now we're in a scene where the man wakes up and he finds himself tied up in a bed, and he yells out that they drained the pond and they let them out. The man says that someone is going to kill them all.
Mm-hmm.
So he's worried about something's happened here, and there's some bad stuff going to happen.
They do not understand what he's on about yet.
Yeah. So next we get a scene between Maggie and Paul, and through dialogue we find out that Paul has a daughter.
Yep.
So it's kind of more back and forth between the two, and I think it kind of leads us to a romantic fling between them, and it almost feels like it.
Maybe. Like it could happen.
Yeah, because when he pulled the cover and they're watching a movie, she says, "I was waiting for you to get me under the covers."
Right.
And then it goes...
And he gives her a funny look. So
we cut scene after that.
Yeah.
So the next morning, Maggie and Paul decide to take a log raft down the river to get this injured gentleman to help. And we also learn that Paul's daughter is at a summer camp down the river a ways. So it's in the vicinity, but downriver.
Right.
And this raft is kind of like Huck Finn. He even mentions him and his daughter built it because they read Huck Finn and thought it'd be a fun thing to do.
There's no nails in it. It's just lashed together.
Yep. So now we're at a scene of Paul's daughter at camp, and she's afraid to get in the river. She is terrified of the water, which is weird that she lives on a river and she's afraid of it.
And they don't really say why.
No, nothing. They don't explain why.
In the sense that if there's some sort of past trauma about the water, they don't explain it.
Right. So a female counselor, she's trying to explain to the little girl that there's nothing to fear in the river, and she's very sweet to her. And this is our lady that was in The Young and the Restless. Or whatever.
Yep.
The soap opera she was in.
That was it.
Next, we get introduced to the camp leader, who is a real asshole. He's yelling at the little girl about being afraid. I mean, totally, they told this guy just be an asshole, you know, so he let it rip.
And he's a cliche, arrogant camp leader
telling
guy.
her she's not going to amount to anything.
Needs guts.
She needs guts and quit being a wussy. So now we get to Paul's neighbor who's sitting on a dock, and this is the guy that delivered the alcohol to him earlier in the film.
Yep.
And suddenly he's sitting on a dock with his feet in the river, and suddenly he gets his legs attacked by a school of piranha.
Mm-hmm.
So now
he's got his dog with him. The dog's barking at the water.
And they're just eating him up, and we cut scene right there. Now we get back with Paul and Maggie and the man on the raft. They got him on the raft heading down to town to try to get him some help. And as they're floating downstream, the man explains that he's a doctor who is working on making a hybrid of piranha for the military, and that now because Maggie drained the pond at the facility, that they are now loose in the river, or piranha are loose in the river. So as they're floating down the river, they come up to the scene where Paul's neighbor was attacked. The dog's going crazy on the dock, so he said, I need to go check this out. And they go ashore and find the man dead with his legs all eaten up, up by his house where he drug himself out of the...
Pretty good effects.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It looks pretty good.
Bone and very little meat left for the piranha ate him up, about knees down.
Yep.
So now we get Paul's daughter... Susie is her name. I'm just calling her Paul's daughter, but her name is Susie, and a different female counselor now. This is a second one. And they're throwing darts at a picture of the camp leader, having fun with it.
Right.
And the counselor tells Susie that they'll fake an injury so Susie doesn't have to get in the river to take her swim test. That's going to be their big plan. She put a little mark on her leg with a red marker, and she says, I'll bandage it up, and we'll just say that you can't go in the water.
Yep, not cleared to participate.
So now we get a man and his son on a boat checking traps in the river, and the man has his arm in the water trying to pull up his trap, and he gets attacked by the piranha. The boat capsizes, and the man falls in the river, and the boy climbs up on the capsized boat, the bottom of the boat. So he watches his dad get eaten by the piranha, and he's scared to death on the boat. Now back on the raft, with Paul and Maggie, and Dr. Hoke explains to Maggie and Paul that the government was trying to mutate piranha that would destroy the river system in North Vietnam during the Vietnamese War.
Yep.
And when the war ended, the government destroyed the hybrid piranha, but some survived and became more aggressive, and that's what the doctor was doing at the facility, more research on these, how these things have got mutation. So Paul suddenly realizes the camp is on the same river system and that he needs to get to the dam before the park rangers open the dam, allowing the piranha to get past the dam and into the section of river where the summer camp kids are and his daughter.
Right, because currently they are somewhat contained because of the dam.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it becomes a race against time. So as they're floating down the river, they come to the capsized boat with a boy clinging to it. Dr. Hoke jumps in the river to save him. So this is kind of our not bad guy, but a guy that's on and he's saving face here.
It's like you can see like when he sees the kids like struggling on the boat, like he's got this look on his face and suggesting like that this inner turmoil that he's going through, where he's got some guilt over what's happening and he feels like it's the right thing to do.
He needs to redeem himself.
It's the redemption story of Dr. Hoke.
So he jumps in, and as he gets to the boy, the piranha start attacking, but he fights through it, and he ends up handing the boy over to Maggie, who is on the raft, and Maggie she pulls the doctor onto the raft, but it's too late for him. The doctor dies. He's got bites all over his body. So he succumbs to the piranha bites. Suddenly, because his body is on the raft, the piranha start eating the lashings.
Yeah. His hand is hanging in the water.
Yeah.
Or there's like blood trailing off his hand into the water, and it's just leading right to it.
So they start chewing the lashings that are holding the raft together, and Paul dumps Hoke's body into the river to distract the piranha, giving them enough time to just barely make it ashore.
Yep.
Right before the last log comes loose. So Paul tells Maggie to stay with the boy while he runs down to the dam to warn the ranger not to open it, allowing the piranha more access to open water. So when Paul reaches the dam, he's just in time. The guy's getting ready to crank it up, and he yells and says, "Hey, don't do that."
It's funny because they keep cutscening from the guy. He's watching cartoons in the dam station, and he's doing everything really slow, watching the cartoons, and then he has his little crank, and then he drops it, and it keeps cutting to Paul running to the thing.
Yeah, it's kind of tense.
Yeah, but he makes it.
Yeah, he does make it. Now, at the same time that this is going on, we're cutting back and forth between the military arriving into town.
Yep.
And as the military arrives, there's a colonel, and Paul tells him what has happened, but the colonel is skeptical. The military throws a hind quarter of a cow on a rope into the river, trying to see if he's telling the truth. If he throws this meat in there and it comes back chewed up, they'll know that he's telling the truth. So, and it does. It comes back
picked clean,
nothing but bone, and confirming Paul's story. So Paul then gets suspicious of why and how the military arrived on scene so quickly. He's like, this must be something really important if you guys are here this fast.
Mm-hmm.
So the military's cover-up is then confirmed when the general asks Paul and Maggie to join their cover-up. Paul gets pissed off and walks away. Doesn't say yes or no if he's going to join in on it. The military tries to poison the section of river to kill the piranha, so they're putting some chemical in there that'll kill them all. And Paul suddenly, it pops in his head that there is another way the fish could get to that section by going upriver and going through a little tributary.
There's a little stream that'll
allow him to get into that further on down.
Yep, there's a roundabout.
Yeah. Bypassing that dam that is not opened yet.
Right.
So Maggie talks with a scientist lady who's also there with the military, and she also worked with Dr. Hoke in mutating the piranha, and she too admits to a government cover-up. So it's kind of out between Maggie and Paul, but not to the to the public yet. So the colonel decides that they need to be Paul and Maggie needs to be secured for the evening so that they can't go talk to the press or whatever. So they put them in a military tent at a camp, and this is overnight because if they go public with this is going to be bad for the military. So they're going to keep an eye on Paul and Maggie.
Yep.
So that night, Maggie and Paul distract the guard and escape, and this is where she kind of shows her boobies, and Paul comes out and puts a sleeping bag over his head, and they steal a army jeep.
Yep.
And away they go. So
there's a funny part because when they're making the plan to do this, he tells her the plan, like, go out there and distract him. It's like, I don't know, do girl stuff, distract him. And she's like, but what if he's gay? And then he's like, well, then I'll distract him.
Yeah, that was funny. And she does ask him, she goes,
yeah,
are you by chance gay?
That's her opening line. She comes out, it's like, oh, excuse me, are you gay?
So they steal the Jeep and they drive to a payphone to warn the summer camp leader. And this is the summer camp leader asshole.
Douchebag guy.
He's laying in bed and the phone rings. He answers it and it's Paul Grogan. And he doesn't believe, they kind of have a past where he knows Paul's a alcoholic. And he's like, you're just a drunk. Shut up. And
right.
He
does, like, no, you can't talk to your daughter.
Yeah, so he does not take the piranha threat serious at all. So Paul and Maggie end up getting pulled over by the local police, and they are taken in custody for stealing the military jeep. The local sheriff notifies the military, and the colonel tells the sheriff to hold them. Definitely hold them. Do not let them go.
Yeah.
So now we see the colonel. He makes a phone call to a local businessman, and he's trying to find out if word has gotten out to the public yet. And the businessman, this is played by Dick Miller. Through dialogue, we find out that the colonel has invested money into the grand opening of a Aqua Arena Resort. It's kind of a resort town on the river and lake. So this is one of the reasons why the colonel wants to keep this cover up, because he's invested money into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, still in jail, Maggie is able to knock out the guard. They have a kind of cute little thing to get the guard to come in.
She breaks the P trap on the sink and to spill water, and then she smashes the lid of the toilet tank to get his attention. And he comes in there and she's like, I don't know what happened. So he comes in to check it out, and she bashes him with I think she hit him with a piece of the toilet tank. Yeah, like she put it in a pillowcase. Yeah, and smacked him in the head with it. She didn't want to
kill him.
Right.
She just wanted to knock him out.
And then the keys to the cellar attached to his belt, and she can't get them off, so she has to take his pants off and use his pants.
There is some good comedic moments in this movie. So she gets the keys, like you mentioned, still attached to his pants, and she breaks herself and Paul out. So Maggie and Paul, they steal a patrol car, and they head to the summer camp. Now we see that the grand opening of the Aqua Arena is happening today, and we get the summer camp going on at the same time. So we got two big things happening on the water with these killer piranha on the loose.
Yep.
At the summer camp, we see all the kids in the river on inner tubes. Suddenly, the piranha, they start attacking them. All hell breaks loose as the kids are getting bit by the piranha. It's a pretty good scene.
Yeah.
A lot of shit going on, screaming. Yeah. And this is the scene right here that I remember most as a kid.
I'm sure.
Because we swam in the creek all the time behind our house. Every day we was back there.
So, in this scene, the counselor dude catches Paul's daughter, Susie, not like trying to skip out on the thing, and he tells her to go, but then she ends up hiding under a canoe, so she's not in the water when this happens.
Right.
But I was really surprised at how hard they go here, because I mean, this is there are basically 2 adult counselors out there, and then a bunch of young kids, and they are just getting tore up by these piranha. Like I was shocked.
Yeah, because you usually don't see a lot of kids getting killed. In horror, even any horror movie.
And this is one of the areas where I feel like this movie separates itself from Jaws quite a bit because, I mean, yes, there's people getting killed by the shark in Jaws, but nothing as graphic as tons of little kids getting mauled by piranha. Like there's blood in the water. I mean, it's wild. I was not expecting that at all.
So now we're to the point that I skipped to accidentally. Paul and Maggie arrive at the camp, and with the help of Paul's daughter, who you mentioned was not in the water yet, they rescue most of the people from the piranha, except, of course, the one camp counselor that she was really close to, the blonde from... or was it the brunette?
It's the brunette.
Okay, it was the brunette.
She's the one that ends up getting taken by the piranha.
Okay, and it ended up eating a camp leader too. They get him.
Which he did, similar to the doctor. He did have his moment where he was kind of came to his senses, like these kids are in trouble, and he gets in the water and he's trying to drag them out. So he's trying to do the right thing at the end and sacrifices himself.
Yeah. So Maggie calls the Aquarina Resort to warn them of the piranha, and the man on the other end is, of course, Dick Miller, and he doesn't believe Maggie, and he hangs up on her. Of course, he can't have anything bad happening because he's the guy that's running this resort. So now we go to the Aqua Arena Resort, and we see all the guests having fun swimming in the. I think this is the lake part. It kind of opens up to the lake.
Yeah.
But they're all having fun, good time. It's a nice little scene here. People running and going. Packed house. It's packed.
People out boating and skiing.
So now Paul and Maggie race to the resort. So in a subplot, we see some underwater divers, and there's a water skier, and there's a boat collision, and all hell's breaking loose. And the only reason this has anything to do with a piranha is because the skier sees somebody that has been eaten, which I think was
one of the divers.
Oh, was it one of the divers?
I think so.
Okay, they see his body, and they kind of freak out, and they're trying to get him to stop, and then there's the boat ends up hitting
another boat.
Yeah. There's a giant explosion. I think they just wanted an explosion in the film, so they said, how can we get that? It's all right, I guess.
Yeah.
It's action.
Yeah.
So now we're back to the resort, and we see the piranha beginning to attack all the swimmers. So it's a complete bloodbath again, just like where the kids were in the camp, except multiplied by thousands.
They do go harder this time when it's not little kids.
Yeah, so chaos ensues, and we see the businessman and the colonel begin to worry, that they're going to get exposed. I mean, they're more worried about being exposed as crooks than people dying.
Yes, for sure. So
the colonel, it's kind of because this guy is not like Dr. Hoke or the camp leader where he ends up helping people because he's pushing people back into the dock.
Right. They're on like a little tiki raft thing.
Yeah.
And there's a scene when they're getting on it that it's clearly labeled max occupancy 18 or whatever. And so people are trying to swarm on this boat, and he's just pushing them back off.
He's saying, get off. And he's pushing them back in the water. Totally not wanting to help anybody. So he ultimately gets bumped in, and he gets his. So he gets eaten by the piranha. And the lady that's with the military, that scientist lady, she gets to watch him get eaten too.
Yep.
So Paul and Maggie arrive at the resort and take a boat and head to the narrow spot in the lake where they can open a pipe from a refinery and kill all the piranha with pollution. I don't know what kind of refinery, if it's a water thing, but it's holding pollution, and they can open a valve and release pollution that's going to wipe out.
Apparently a lot of it that's going to kill everything in the water. Right. I mean, there's going to be collateral damage here, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yep. So when they arrive to the refinery, they find that it's flooded and underwater.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because the dam never got open.
That's true. Maybe that's what the dam needed to be open for.
Yeah, maybe. So the controls are actually underwater as well, and this is Paul. He's tying a rope around his waist, and he tells Maggie that he's going to dive underwater and open the gates to flood the lake with that pollution. He tells her, I think it was
100 seconds.
100 seconds, because that's how long he can hold his breath.
He said, count to 100 and then tear ass out of here. And if I'm not up by then, there's a problem, because that's as long as I can hold my breath.
Yep.
Which, that's pretty good. 100 seconds.
That is a good time.
That's a hell of a... When you're swimming, hell yeah.
Yeah. So, Paul, now underwater with his rope tied to his waist, he makes it to the control room, and he starts turning the valve. It's kind of locked up, and he's struggling to get it open. And now all of a sudden, what do we get? Piranha, exactly. They start attacking Paul, but he's working through it just kind of like Dr. Hope did.
I mean, they're biting his face, getting at him.
Getting good special effects here. Little fist chewing on him.
And you're cutting back and forth between that and her on the boat counting, and she's getting closer to 100.
Yep, tension's building up, and she's counting, and she gets to 100. She revs up the boat and takes off, and it pulls Paul free just as he gets the valve opened, allowing the pollution.
You see it all flooding out.
Coming out of that, 8-inch pipe.
Right.
As Maggie's pulling in the rope, after she stops, everything's relaxed now. She's pulling the rope. She gets to the end of it, and no Paul. It's kind of chewed up.
Yeah, it's severed.
Yeah, at the end of it. And suddenly Paul, he stows his chewed up arm out of the water, and she sees
he's
him.
Pretty mangled.
Yeah.
He does not have a broken back like you would think from
the
immediate force of getting jerked by the RPMs of a boat.
Right, yeah.
But he is tore up by the piranha.
Yeah, so we cut scene there. And we're back at the resort where we see all the carnage that the piranha calls. There's people laid out on the beach.
It's a massacre up there,
There's blankets over people, sheets covering people. And then we see Dick Miller, the dirty businessman, walking around in terror when he runs into a news crew. And they're kind of asking questions. And he doesn't want to answer any of these, obviously, because he's one of the reasons why all this shit's happening.
Yep.
And now we see Paul on a stretcher with Maggie by his side, and Susie finds them. And we see the scientist talking with a newsman, and she assures, this is the woman scientist.
Yep.
She assures that there is no more danger. The newsman asks her what will happen if the piranha make it to the ocean. She tells him that the piranha can't survive salt water. But we did see at the middle of the movie.
Yeah,
I didn't bring it up.
There's a part where Paul touches the water and tastes it, and he says it's salty. Yeah. So, and then at the end, she kind of smiles and says, "There's nothing to worry about."
And we know that they can go into salt water. So the final scene is on an ocean beach, and we hear the piranha schooling out into the ocean. We know that they were genetically mutated to be able to thrive in salt water as well. The end.
The end. All right. Well, that will do it for the walkthrough. So let's go ahead and get into our official rating and review.
Now that we've seen what there is to see, how many never not horror howls will be given?
All right, Rich, your pick. You're up first. What is your review and never not horror howl rating of Piranha?
I broke this down into the good and the bad again, like I did the Funhouse, and some of the good things I have. Fun. It's a fun movie.
Yep.
Nothing too serious. Got decent special effects. The cast is fine. I think they're all workable. I like the idea.
Yep.
And I think one of the strongest things is comedy. There's a lot of good, funny dialogue between Paul and Maggie, and it's just they kind of really work together. I'm surprised that maybe they did, but that they never worked together again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they did, but it would have been a good idea, I think, to get those two actors together because they had good chemistry. I thought
they did.
I another thing I really liked was the backstory, the military cover-up, the Vietnam, war.
Right. Why
thing.
why do you have these mutated piranha here?
Yeah, that was I did like that. The bad. Now I did mention that those actors I thought had great stuff, but I think the characters were a bit dull. There wasn't too much to them. Nobody was stood out as not as an actor, but just as a character.
Yeah.
Paul was okay, I guess. Maggie was decent, but just I don't know. I didn't fall in love with any of the characters really.
Yep.
I do have on here the special effects are not great. I think they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a $600,000 budget.
Right.
You couldn't get Rick Baker. I don't know. I wasn't 100% thrilled with it. And the big thing that stood out the most to me is it needed way, way more editing. Like we talked about the mutant fish, the stop motion fish.
Yeah, just get that guy out.
And then the boat crash with the divers.
Yeah.
But this does bring up that director's cut. There is a little more involved with the divers.
Okay.
So you get to see an attack there, which they cut out for some reason. And they also, I think, cut out probably the best part was more comedy. More
like character building.
Yeah. Funny stuff. Where there was points where I was like laughing out loud. Like, this is hilarious.
I'm going to have to watch the director's cut.
I would recommend watching the director's cut. Now, the director's cut does not show any more about the stop motion fish. There's nothing more about that, even in the director's cut, which I was hoping it would happen.
This would pay off somehow.
Yeah, but there is no payoff. Like there's none with that fish, even in the director's cut. But yeah, I think the big thing for me, like I mentioned, it was one of those things that made me worry about, like you said, quicksand and the cannibals and stuff.
Right.
And there's a place in my heart for Piranha.
Yeah.
Growing up with it, we watched it all the time. We went back in the woods and acted like we was getting attacked by piranhas in our little creek in the back. We played it all the time when we was little. I do like this movie. I will admit that young me loved this movie.
Sure.
I loved it, but older me, I do understand that it is really not that great of a film. It's never going to win an award for anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. But I still like it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it, which this might surprise you, but it's not awful, but still worth watching. Don't take this rating too bad, but I'm going to give it 2 howls.
2 howls.
2 howls. A little
Okay.
under average.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, first time watch for me. And I went into this kind of skewed a little bit with the perception about it being a Jaws ripoff. And I put that to bed pretty quickly because this is just completely different.
Yeah.
Once you get deeper towards the end, when you get to the Aqua Arena stuff,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, yeah, this is a complete ripoff of the.
Yeah, it's the 4th of July and Jaws and the mayor.
Yeah, I mean, he even he's dressed like the mayor.
Yeah, he does.
I mean,
he looks like Dick Miller.
Yeah.
Looks like him.
Yeah, that's blatant. But other than that, this movie feels very different.
Yeah,
like it's just I like you. I like the military backstory for this, like why these piranha are here and why they're mutated. I thought the horror, like I said in the walkthrough, when the kids at the camp start getting attacked, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
I knew they would play with the threat of that, but I never imagined that they would show these kids getting mauled by a school of piranha. It's like, holy shit.
They went there.
They are not pulling their punches here. But, and with that, and then when it gets compounded even more at the Aqua Arena with all the adults just getting mauled, I mean, to me, where I said before that I don't really think Jaws is a horror movie, this is a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference to me. Like, yes, Jaws has scenes where people get killed by a shark, but I don't know. this is a clear difference to me.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a horror movie. Jaws is more of a suspense thriller to me.
Right.
That said, Jaws is way better of a movie than this overall, because for the same reasons you said. I mean, like I mentioned in the walkthrough, it seems, especially in the very beginning, just the setup of why these people are here and how they end up together doesn't make a ton of sense. It's just kind of thrown together.
Yep.
But I mean, overall, I had a good time with it. It was fun. I enjoyed watching the movie. I thought the effects were given. Yeah, granted, this is 1978, the same year as Dawn of the Dead, which is like master class of gore stuff. So not quite on that level, but you got a young effects artist doing it, and I liked it. I came away pleased with it, and I'm curious to watch the 95 remake and curious to see this director's cut and see what else.
Yeah, I highly recommend if you're going to watch it. I would go with the director's cut.
Had I known, I would have just watched the director's cut. I think, but
I didn't see it on there. I just saw 2 different titles, and I saw 2 hours, and I was like, I'm gonna watch that one.
Yeah,
and not knowing that it was even the director's cut, so I watched it, and then I watched that one first.
Yeah,
and I was kind of let down when I watched the hour and a half one because I thought they cut some good parts out. Mm-hmm. So it actually is good to watch that director. Sometimes the director's cut, you see what they edited out, and it really wasn't that great. But this one, they cut out good stuff.
Yeah. One thing that I really, really stuck out to me, and this is apparently it's a Joe Dante thing, because the end of this movie reminded me the very, very end reminded me so much of the very end of The Howling.
Yeah.
With this girl, and she smiles at the camera. It's like, there's nothing to fear. And then in the end of The Howling, you've got the werewolf lady has survived, and she's in the diner, and she wants her burger rare. Rare. That same smirk. And the actresses look similar. I was like, wow, this is... You can just totally tell the same dude made these 2 movies, and I really got a kick out of that.
Yeah, I think even Gremlins had that kind of end, didn't it?
It's been so long since I've seen Gremlins, I don't even remember.
I'm pretty sure that they think they got them all taken care of, and then you see there's a batch that...
Right, that last little zing at the end.
Yeah, so let
and
part 2 come
We've
out.
talked about that, like, how I love that. Like, my especially short, well, even not even just short stories, just my writing in general, I do that in a lot of my stories have that final lines in there, like that, you son of a bitch thing. Like, I love that kind of stuff, and both of those movies do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that gave me a little boost on it. But I think for me, just overall, I thought it was decent, but kind of slow through the first half at least.
It was,
but it really picks up on the back end, and I give it a lot of credit for going as hard as it did with the kids at the camp, and then the violence, the gore and stuff at the end. So I think up until that point, I was with you at a 2. Yeah. But I think how hard they go the last half of the movie pushed it up a little bit more. So I'm gonna go with a 2.5 out of 5 howls.
Yeah.
So 2.5 howls right there in the middle. Well worth your time.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it. Don't ever confuse this with Jaws. Like, if you've heard Piranha is just a Jaws ripoff, it's not.
Yeah.
It's a whole different experience.
I don't think Universal would have won that lawsuit if it would have went on.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, you have to change the end of the movie a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it's a completely different plot. Like, it's just it's not even close. And there's so different tones of movies that don't do that. And I think the 2000s remake, Piranha 3D, kind of expanded on that even more with just the goofiness and the humor and stuff. So I had a good time with it. I liked it a lot.
Well, good.
Yep. I'm going to go 2.5 howls. So, all right. That will do it for our coverage of Piranha. It's not safe to go in the water, folks. Don't do it. Fresh or salt. So, if you enjoyed the show, please like, rate, review, do what you do. Tell your friends about Never Not Horror. Help us spread the word. We do have merch. You can go to nevernothorror.dashery.com and you can pick up some swag if you're into that. You can, if you want to support us outside of the show, youtube.com/Rich Hansel. You can find his channel, SteveClarkBooks.com, and you can go check out my stuff. Next week will be Quick Cuts, and it is continuing the Tales from the Crypt series review, and we are now up to Season 3, Part 1, so we are going to cover the first 7 episodes of Season 3 on next week, and then we'll rank them, and be a good time. So do all the things, tell your friends, and come back next week where whatever it is, it's never not horror.
Oh, yeah.
Are they slow moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.